Thanks for joining me, those of you that have the patience to watch me basically die live. Okay, don't panic. But really, this is so aggravating for somebody who, I've been trying to study the topic and offer my own ideas for so long concerning Obamacare. And a lot of people after Obamacare came into being, they said, well, okay, it's going to be here to stay. And there's really nothing we can do. We have to just adapt it and make the best of it. There is no making the best of it. Obamacare, for those of you that don't understand, is the worst public policy ever passed by the US Congress, ever. It is a complete lie from cover to cover. It doesn't accomplish a single one of its goals, not even the ones that were, in order to expand coverage. Now, okay, let's say you count some of the goals like expanding the parents' coverage to 26-year-olds. Okay, that wasn't the goal. That wasn't the singular goal of Obamacare. How about the one where pre-existing conditions would be covered? Well, when you have people losing their plans because the plans don't get offered, then that doesn't really matter. Okay, your pre-existing conditions are only covered if there is coverage. And then forget about that. The entire premise of the Obama program during his election in 2008 was that he repeated it over and over again that there would be savings of $2,500 on average per family per year. Okay, so think about it. Has any of that happened? On the contrary, it's been a complete clusterfuck. So instead of offering an alternative and being the party or at least the group of people, I don't even know why they call themselves a party. It's like a joyless gaggle of skeletons. That's what the Republicans are. Instead of really offering ideas and talking about why government intervention in the healthcare system has ruined it almost beyond repair at this point. They want to talk about, oh, we're going to promote a system, block grants, blah, blah, blah. We're going to, let the states decide or whatever. Okay, yeah, in a perfect world, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with letting the states sink or swim based on whatever fucking healthcare system they want. Okay, but obviously, because of the lack of resolve and the lack of commitment from the Senate, GOP, and from, to be honest with you, the rest of the GOP and its leadership and its voting mass, okay, the people that are committed GOP voters, because of their lack of commitment, we remain a country under Obamacare. Now, I'm not going to pretend and lie to you that Obamacare is some sort of oppressive regime that chases you everywhere you go, because for the majority of people, it's not that extreme. But what it does do is it takes your money and gives it to fucking insurance companies that invest it in selling you shitty health insurance that you can't afford. That's not socialism. I actually wrote a piece just now. It's called In Defense of Elephant Euthanasia. Let's go Gator on the GOP and everyone. So I'll share that. I haven't shared it in the description yet because I'm an idiot and I don't remember these things, but I will share it, and I want you to go there and comment and let me know if you agree. Because it's time that we stop talking about the Republican Party being our vehicle for doing anything. They don't. It doesn't work. You can join a fucking club and wear the stupid pin and the dumb straw hat and put the fucking striped tie on, and it won't make a difference because these people, they're not. Their interest is not in accomplishing any goals that you care about. Their interest is in occupying offices in physical spaces, in the Pentagon or Congress, anywhere they can go. If it's an elected office, if it's an appointed office, that's what they care about. And they're not changing because they don't have the same concerns and needs as everyday Americans. All they care about is promoting an agenda of just verbal masturbation is what they do. They just talk all that. And I'm not trying to say that. I am saying it to degrade what they say because actual masturbation is not as bad as what these people do. In terms of just an activity. It's what they do is a real waste of time because they will go on the air and appear on TV and talk about for days on end how Obamacare has ruined the healthcare system and people are suffering under it, and then they'll go to their office in the Congress and they'll just sit there and do absolutely nothing about it. And what do I mean by doing something about it? Well, the person I supported for president, Rand Paul, did put forward a plan that would offer more freedom for healthcare recipients in terms of giving them the option of taking more HSAs. This would be a system that would dramatically depart from the model anywhere else in the world so far as I know. It will basically say, okay, you will get the freedom to have this tax-protected health savings account, and then you can manage your care responsibly. And obviously, he wasn't going to go the whole hog and eliminate Medicaid and Medicare entirely, but Obamacare has to go, and it has to go all the way. It is a toxic cancer on our society, on our system at least. I don't know about broader society. Look, people don't give a fuck about this, and it's really a statement on our society that for weeks we've been talking about Confederate flags and Confederate monuments and taking a knee and what were the other dumb things that we've been talking about? That stupid new movie with what was her name? Is it Kristen Stewart? Whoever that girl from the Hunger Games is. Anyway, people will talk about that for days on end. They'll talk about LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. And then they'll get pissed off about how they don't receive adequate health care or they're paying too much for it. And what do they do about it? They just sit down and they bitch. And they'll take one of two directions on this issue. They'll either say, I'm going to vote for a Republican so that we can remove Obamacare, or they will say, we need to move towards socialized medicine or whatever. The people who, quote unquote, support Obamacare don't even know how the fuck it works. So it's real simple. Obamacare is a price-controlled and throttled market where you are paying basically these health insurance companies that are receiving corporate welfare in order to give you shitty plans that you can't afford and that you'll be less able to afford next year. How long did that take? I don't think it took 10,000 pages as some versions of the bill took. Okay, it's basically saying, you didn't like having to pay too much for regular health insurance, so we're just going to stifle competition so that it's even harder for competitors to reach the market and break up the whole monopoly among these insurance companies. And it was an obvious failure to begin with. And I'm very disgruntled about it. I'm obviously not in a good mood about it. But the fact that I'm on here and I'm not making baboon noises and really basically punching the screen is a testament to how much self-control I've had to develop over the past couple hours. So I did have this Axios article up, but I have really slow connection, so we'll see how well this goes. It's in the description, and it shows Mitch McConnell and his cabaret group of loser Republican senators standing at a podium and explaining, well, I guess we're not going to do it. I guess we've talked about doing it for so long. Let me just show the photo. I'm not even going to read the article because it's not even worth giving voice to any of the crap that they're saying, because you can pretty much predict it the whole way. These are people, they don't actually accomplish anything. They just show up at podiums. Here, you'll see in a second. They show up at podiums and they try to look important and as if they're working on things. But obviously, since there's no results, nobody actually knows what those things are. On the left of the screen, you will see this dwarf, Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, who introduced his failed bill that was going to block grant Medicaid and all these other services, healthcare services to the states. And then I think in between McConnell and Graham is this other guy, I think he's a senator from Oklahoma. And then there's these two other morons to the right. That one of them, his face, this you can't see my cursor, but this guy with his hand on his chin, that perfectly sums up what the GOP's reaction is when they actually don't do anything. It's like, I guess, I mean, maybe stop by tomorrow. It's like when you go to the pharmacy and they accidentally switched your pain reliever medication for boner pills or something. Something that'll give you worse headaches. You know what I'm saying? This has got to be the greatest collection of failure since the 2008 Detroit Lions. And I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. I am dumping this party. It does not mean anything to me. They don't have anything to offer. Nobody knows exactly what their program is. They keep talking about, we're going to do tax reform soon. Well, maybe you should be working on the tax reform while you're working on this too, because there are 52 of you, and you can fucking, do a little teamwork, budget your time. You have retards that work for you too, that pretend that they're actually performing a civic duty, but they're actually usually playing on their phones while we see you on C-SPAN or one of the other networks that patches into Congress. The gig is up. Nobody fucking believes you anymore. Because how many times do we have to hear you go on the campaign trail and say, we're going to relieve the American people of this terrible burden of whatever it is. And in this case, for me, I think Obamacare is pretty high up there for most people. I don't own a plan. Technically, there's nothing for me to gain here. I'm basically yelling at the wind. I don't have an Obamacare plan. I don't even have skin in the game. But Obamacare does have repercussions on the rest of the insurance market as Obamacare goes up, because these patients are basically boosting the cost of healthcare, because these are unhealthy people that are receiving subsidized healthcare that the hospitals aren't getting fully paid for. The hospitals do have to make it up somewhere, just like they used to do. Just like they always do with Medicare and Medicaid. They have to make up that money elsewhere. And people have to stop being morons and thinking that the only issue is the actual insurance coverage. They have to talk about the fact that you have physicians, prescribing medications that people don't need. And the physicians lobby, the doctors' lobbies, like the AMA, American Medical Association, are making it virtually impossible for the average medical student to graduate without, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and no hope of repaying it until they're probably 75, which might explain why they're prescribing medications that people don't need. right? You don't think that there might be a little interplay there, right? So all they want to focus on is guaranteeing, and this is the Democrats already. Fuck the Republicans, because they don't actually have any ideas. They just pretend they do. And then the one person among them that does have an idea, they act, you know, that's an idea. That doesn't really work well in our business because we're in the business of pretending we're having ideas. It's like, why would I want to build an actual house to film a movie on when I can just build the mock-up and we can just play and pretend? And if, you know, a fucking bird flies into a fake window and it ruins the scene, I'll just pretend the viewers are too dumb to know the difference. That's the way the GOP thinks. Now, the Democrats are also morons, but they're a little more honest about it because they'll say, oh, we need to guarantee access for all. Well, what the fuck is access? Does that mean that if you expand, for example, this Obamacare program, if you're expanding it or giving it more money, does that mean that services will be more available because you've suddenly given more fucking corporate welfare to private insurance companies that pay out massive bonuses to their phony baloney executives? Is that going to guarantee better quote unquote access to healthcare? I don't think so. You need actual infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure, and personnel and technology in order for healthcare to be provided in a more equitable fashion. And that is done by freeing up the market, encouraging innovation by lowering the medical device tax, and deregulating the pharmaceutical industry and discouraging the open cronyism between pharmaceutical companies and the FDA. You know, I'm not saying that you don't need rules. I'm just saying that when the rules are configured in order to give advantages to certain industries that have only profit in mind, then it's not really a free market. It's more like a fuck market. It's a market where the consumer gets fucked because you have the government and the industry hand in hand working to work the customer. Why do you think utilities are so expensive in some states? Okay, they're massively regulated. I mean, what, do you need more regulation in utilities? Do you actually want to know how utilities would work if they were actually owned by the government? It would be even worse. It would be the service wouldn't be nearly as good as it is now. The service right now is okay. It's just that the fucking pricing is out of control in some of these markets. These utilities, they'll just, the price of the insulation and the wire went up, right? Isn't that our excuse this month? So you have these morons on the Democratic side, either arguing for more regulation and more corporate welfare, or for government takeover of healthcare, which would basically mean if you want to be a doctor or a nurse, good luck actually providing for your family because there's not going to be any profit motive anymore. You're still going to have to pay for insanely long education, but you're just not going to make as much money to pay for it. That's really their plan. Their plan is to give you a system that, yeah, everybody will have access, but the actual service and product will be shit because you'll go in and you'll basically see this old MRI machine that is not properly maintained because the hospital will have no incentive to actually maintain it because nobody can get fucking fired because these will be government employees at a certain point. Either they will be government employees or the government body that is supposed to pay them will be constantly fighting to get enough budget to actually support this infrastructure. Okay, isn't that the way the roads work? Right? You don't think so? Isn't that the way it works with the public housing system? I mean, if you go to many of these public housing systems, these places are fucking falling apart and nobody can maintain them. They don't have a chance to maintain them. Sometimes it's not safe enough for these people to go in and maintain them. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but once somebody owns something, it doesn't just keep, you know, it doesn't just preserve its value and quality automatically. You have to, you know, you have to invest in maintenance. And that's what the progressives don't understand, that in order for the health industry to be successful in quality, there has to be good innovation. Remember, a lot of these diseases mutate. For example, they're talking about a new super malaria virus and things like that. Good luck having anybody really put in a good effort at curing that when you take the profit motive out. It's just going to take much longer, and you might have to, you know, coerce a lot of people into working on it, and that's not going to be fun. It's actually going to be a very traumatic experience if we ever go to single payer healthcare or any type of model that has more intervention than we have now. And it's enough, and I've had enough. One more article that I'm perusing. This is the worst 10 states for Obamacare premium hikes, and it's from, I think it's Wall Street Cheat Sheet. If you guys know that site, just loading. Computer is just driving me insane. I should get it clean. It says the 10 worst states in America for soaring Obamacare premiums by Megan Elliott. The screen here. I'll be reading in the meantime because I can't actually share because this is hovering here. But it says the Affordable Care Act was supposed to solve insurance. Hold on, let me let this video catch up. Sorry for the pause here. This is unbelievable. This is fucking slower. All right, I should be back. Sorry about that. I know that there was a little pause there. It's just this stupid computer and pretends to go to sleep. So let me try to share this again before it freaks the fuck out on me. So the Affordable Care Act was supposed to solve Americans' health insurance woes, but news that Obamacare premiums are set to increase by an average of 22% in 2017 has many worried the program is in deep trouble. I think that she meant 2018. The premium increases in excess of 100% in some cases are indeed eye-popping, but most consumers won't feel much of a pinch. Those who get their insurance through their employer won't be affected at all. Well, they don't think that they'll be affected, but eventually that cost gets passed on to somebody. And even if you do buy your health insurance on one of the exchanges, chances are tax credits will cover most of the premium increase. Says most Americans do not buy health insurance through the marketplace. For those that do, they are protected from the sticker price increases because of the subsidies. Most marketplace consumers will still pay less than $100 per month. Adam Beck, a professor of health insurance at the American College, said. There is one group that will be hit hard by the premium increases, those who buy insurance on the exchanges but don't get a tax credit. For the 17% who don't receive subsidies, these increases are really, really tough. Beck said a single adult who earns more than $47,520 per year is not eligible to receive a health insurance subsidy in 2017. Because of rising costs, 22% of people who currently don't get help paying for their health insurance may be eligible for tax credits in 2017. So let me see here. I think this might actually be. Now, this might be the outdated data from last year. I don't know why it's dated from. Hold on. So you have all of these articles, the Huffington Post, I see the Seattle Times here. They're all talking about how much they would lose $10 billion through 2016. Seattle Times with the latest healthcare repeal. Well, what does that really mean? They're just saying, oh, we're going to lose money as a state because we're going to not get money from the government, from the federal government, that they're collecting from you through taxes. Isn't this a bit of fucking juggling all the time? All they want to talk about is, oh, we're going to lose a lot of money that would go for our health care because we wouldn't be stealing it from the consumer, from the taxpayer. Isn't it time people really realized that, you know, we're not even we're not even getting anything. A big fucking deal. Your state is not going to get money from the federal government, which takes it from you. Isn't that a real tragedy? Let me see if I can. I think I have one from the North Pacific Northwest. I know that I do talk to that strange character, Citizen Shane, out there. I think, by the way, Citizen Shane, for those of you that don't know, I think he was punched in the face last week. And, because he does that weird stunt with swastikas, because he's some sort of white nationalist. I think it's really a tragedy that we have a culture where people care more about that type of stuff. And Citizen Shane can have his own opinions. I'm fine with him. I wouldn't have had him on my channel, but they don't give a fuck about this stuff. It says uncertainty, double-digit increases plague Washington's individual health insurance market from September 21st. That was, I think, 5 days ago. People who buy individual health insurance in Washington state can expect another round of rate hikes next year. I'd say double-digit increases are almost a certainty. State Insurance Commissioner Mike Creedler said in an interview Thursday on TVW's Inside Olympia program. This follows an average 13% increase in rates in 2017. In June, health insurers proposed rate hikes for 2018 of between 12.9 and 38.5%, or an average 22%. Since then, Kreidler, whose office approves rate increases, has been working with insurers to get that number down. And then they say 11 companies have filed to offer 71 health plans across Washington. And these have just been delayed and delayed and delayed. I mean, how much did they talk about how flexible and how much more competition there would be in the plan, and that there would be all these options that you could keep? Look how much of a disaster it's been, and these morons, they can just continue to pretend, oh, we need to defend Obamacare because it's giving people, it's giving people a healthcare option. It's a shitty option. People need, there's plenty of people who will just take a fucking penalty instead of using it. It's a joke of a program. It's honestly one of the people who defend it are just people who don't even care to learn about it. They don't even fucking care. It's like, these Democrats that they always complain, well, poor people vote for the conservatives or for the Republicans because they're voting against their own interests because of wedge issues. Well, how is voting for a government-managed intervention in the healthcare system that has actually made it much worse for consumers? How is that not worse? I mean, that's definitely voting against your own interests. How many poor people? I want to ask this: how many poor people voted for Barack Obama, who delivered in his 8 years only one legislative success, if you can call it that, Obamacare? One legislative success that technically doesn't really help poor people, because poor people, let me tell you a secret, they don't use Obamacare, they use Medicaid. They use Medicaid. Obamacare doesn't benefit poor people. It benefits people that are not able to qualify for Medicaid. And I'm not saying that I'm having a problem with the people who use Medicaid. I'm just saying there's no interest for you to vote for Obamacare. You basically were put on a fucking, a rocky beach for 8 years, and they let the tides just wash all over you, and then they told you, oh, we took you to a spa. You were 8 years in a spa, right? Well, that's how Obamacare was, and I guess it's enough for today. I think it's been 45 minutes. I was just going off on this policy, but I can't take it anymore. And I can do these videos. I can talk to people through this screen. I can, I put this blog post up, which I'm going to include in the description instead of the cheat sheet article, which was wrong. And I can show you endless examples, but until you guys actually get angry about this, and a little less angry about these anthem protests, which with all due respect, I've done enough videos on that my feelings on it. I think it's, I don't think it's the most important thing going on today, to be honest with you. I think they're kind of a worthless distraction for many Americans, as opposed to this, where people are actually getting screwed, and they don't even care. They don't even want to learn about how they're getting screwed. It actually does not take that long to really learn about it. It's just that it's been deliberately made so confusing that people lose interest. So that's it. This was the ACA Today. Ramon, bold like a leopard. Please leave your comments, share. Maybe we can talk about mental health next time, because this is obviously causing some sort of complex with me. But have a great night, and maybe we'll talk soon. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as I already said.